Right. So while other people have a relationship with their, say, pet cat or pet dog, you've actually befriended wild bull elephants. So you have an ability to exchange understanding with them. How have you developed this personal bond which results in a trust that allows you to actually walk strangers and clients right up to them?
Just a process of time. You know, with like Tusker, for example, he's probably our most friendly bull. We've known him since he left his matriarchal herd when he was 13 or 14 years old, and now that's 15 years ago, so he's in his late 20s. He's got big tusks, he looks a lot older, but he, over those 15 years, he's learned to, he used to chase us around camp when we were building camp. He hated the guys pushing the squeaky wheelbarrow, so he's gone from that, chasing us around, to, you know, almost seeking out human company. When he broke his leg a few years ago, and he felt safe enough to come into camp and would sleep for a week in camp, just lying on the side, getting up, feeding a bit, lying down on the other side, and he stayed in camp for a week. He felt like this was a safe place. So I think that may have also helped in his sort of habituation to humans, that he realized while he was in pain that he didn't have to fear us.
Right.
And now that he's fine, he accepts us as, you know, part of the furniture, so to speak.
So you feel the closest, would you say, to Tusker of all of your
Tusker,
friends?
yeah.
And then Impy's is...
Impy's another one. You get really close to Impy, and Oswald, he doesn't let you get too close, but on times he'll let you, when he's in a good mood, he'll let you get reasonably close, you know.
But you have to distinguish if he's in a good mood, and that's just through the body movements of the ears flapping and that sort of thing? Or
Yeah.
how do you assess if this bull elephant is okay to approach?
Just body language from straight off. You can notice from a distance if that elephant is going to be approachable on that particular day or not. And then if, you know, you just break each boundary as you get closer and closer, then you can judge his body language at each sort of barrier. And if he reacts in the right way, then you can walk along with him while he's feeding and let him carry on his normal behavior while you're walking along right next to him.
And how many individuals would you say you could do that with at the present moment?
And there's probably about 20 bulls that will allow you to do that. And quite a few cow groups are also very habituated. When they're following the bulls and feeding, they'll let you walk in amongst the herd, or stand next to a tree while the herd mills around. So there's several herds of cows which have also become very used to our presence. And that being on foot is quite a thing. You know, you get cows which are used to vehicles being around, but having cow groups within meters of you on foot is quite a unique experience.
Do you think there's something specific to the elephants at Monopools, or do you think anybody with your talent would be able to do that in any park, or is there something about these Monopool elephants?
I think it's a combination of things, but in Mana has a certain set of circumstances which leads to it. People are allowed to walk anywhere you want in the park, so there's lots of people, not lots of people, there's often people are walking around in the bush around these animals, and there's lots of mobile tented camps where there's people milling around, and the animals move up and down the river, weaving their way through these camps and get very used to people. So it's a combination of the elephants used to people and people used to elephants.
And that doesn't happen that frequently in other parks.
No, I
where
don't think so,
where there's the freedom of movement on foot.
No, exactly.
Do you feel that you can communicate at this level with other species, or is there something special about elephants?
Well, the levels that you can interact with elephants are probably at a closer level than you can anything else. But some of the lions here are very used to us on foot too. So you can literally, with some of the lions that are here, you can walk through the bush with them while they're hunting. They'll pay no attention to you, but focus on their prey species, be it a waterbuck or a kudu or warthog, and they'll focus on those animals and let you walk along with them. So that's also just something that has developed over years and years of walking with these animals. And then the wild dogs.
They know your presence, the wild dogs.
The wild dogs know us, I think, individually also, from scent. We spend a lot of time with them. In fact, probably the one pack which was featured in the Dynasties movie, the Painted Wolves episode, every single one of those dogs, probably the first animal that they saw other than another wild dog was one of us. So since they're 3 or 4 weeks old, they have seen us around in their lives, and so they're totally habituated with us. So the same thing, they let you walk with them while they're on a hunt and approach them really closely on foot, and it is quite a special relationship.
Do you have individual names for some of the lions like you do for the elephants, or is not quite as much frequent interaction?
No, some of the lions do have names, but I must say we haven't really focused on the lions very much. More elephants and wild dogs.
Well, you're trying to
Yeah.
save they're not being poached to the same degree as the elephants, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the elephants have become an iconic species, and the wild dogs, being an endangered species, have become very important to us. And the lions, of course, it's nice to have lions around, and some of them do have names, but we haven't given them as much focus as the other species.
And of course, that's all part of your vision for growing.
Yeah.
Your work is to do a predator.
Well, we're working on a carnivore project at the
Carnivore.
moment, so we can looking at doing various research projects, including the wild dogs, which we've been doing already for the last 7-8 years, and lions, leopard, and hyena. Because there's a few interactions which we're concerned about at the moment, namely the high numbers of hyena and lion, which are impacting wild dog population. So we're looking at a decline in the wild dog population by probably as much as 65 to 70% along the floodplain of minor pools, having traditionally been one of the highest densities of wild dogs in the world, or in Africa. Now the numbers are declining. So we're going to look specifically at lion and hyena numbers and their movements and see if they're having an impact on the wild dogs. We know they are, because we see the results. We've seen wild dogs and hyenas and lions killing wild dog pups and find the remains of adults being killed by lions. So we know there is a high impact, but it's something that we want to look at more closely.
Great.
See if there aren't any management issues that we need to be looking at to help populations of the wild dog pick up again.
Well, Nick, thank you very much for your help in this interview. And is there anything else you'd like to add, maybe that I haven't asked you?
No, not really. I think we should say anything about like fundraising or anything like that.
Well, Nick, in order to get all your projects, this vision that you've developed to save the park and the species, at the role of Bush Life Conservancy, of course, is to give you the financial wherewithal to do these projects that are critical for conservation and to expand. So I really hope that whoever is watching this will consider a donation to Bush Life Conservancy, or even Bush Life Support Unit if you're from the UK and that's easier for you. And I just hope that you'll continue to support the work that this hero is achieving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cut.
Thanks, Maura.